playing a team that you played so recently, or does what happened in that game? I mean, do you expect changes? I mean, the familiarity goes both ways, but how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for us because we know them really well. It's really fresh, and we have an opportunity. And obviously, it's the same for them, right? But we can only focus on what it is for us, and so we're really looking forward to it. March is the best time of the year, and it's upon us, and we're in tournament time, and so we're excited.
When you look at the film of that game, I remember talking to the kids afterwards. They said that there were some problems with the switches and the screens. I mean, what did you identify defensively that kind of went haywire in that one?
You're talking about Washington game?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're the most efficient team in the conference, and they do it because their guards are really savvy in terms of setting you up and using some ball screens and some cuts and then re-attacking in different ways. So, good opportunities for us to go back on film and evaluate and work to be in, better spots this time around.
With Sophie, I know maybe that she's not a great matchup because of her game, but she didn't play that much in that game, and I'm wondering, is there a way to use Sophie and maybe slow them down offensively, or is the defense too much of an issue?
Well, we need to be able to use Sophie. She wasn't feeling very well going into that game and missed quite a few days of practice beforehand. So hopefully feeling better, being able to go a little bit longer is going to be beneficial for us, hopefully.
What do you, I mean, when you take them to Indy here, what do you do to get them ready after a kind of difficult end to the regular season? I mean, how do you sell the fact that there's still an opportunity there?
Well, I think ultimately we do have great opportunities, and I think that this crew has an opportunity. They've earned an opportunity to play in the postseason, and now we have an opportunity to continue to grow and get better and learn from what we. The interesting thing about the Big Ten this year is that for everybody, with the size and the depth of the conference, but really just with the size of the conference first and foremost, you only get to play everyone in the conference one time. And so we always said it's hard because I think at times we wait for it like the next time. Obviously you have one opponent that you get to play a second time, but now you have an opportunity to learn and to grow and to develop and carry those lessons over. And so it's a good opportunity for us to take what we've learned and kind of move it forward and continue to get better. Control what we can control.
Every time I've watched you play a lot now, and against some very good teams, you are right there.
Mm-hmm.
That Ohio State game, USC, you come back yesterday. I know it's not one thing, it's too simple to say,
Right.
It's not getting you over them. What are some of the things that you feel like aren't getting you? I know you're down a couple players too.
Right. Yeah, that makes it very challenging. I think, again, we can only control what we can control, right? So we can control how we attack this next opportunity to play in the Big Ten tournament and continue to grow and get better, whether that's in finishing plays, whether that's in handling the ball, taking care of the ball, attacking in different ways, setting or using some different screens. All those are little things that we can control. We couldn't control that as the way the schedule worked out this year. Every single ranked team that we played on the road. And we played a lot of them too, very tight into a couple possessions here or there. We can't go back and take the fact that, man, we had some really good opportunities at home and we didn't capitalize in some whatever quarter it was, and some things went against us, whether that was the fourth quarter, third quarter, early in the game, whatever those cases were. But we learned from all those. And what I really love about this team is that they are hungry and they want to be good. They want to learn and they want to get better, even if it's uncomfortable for them. And so, right now we can control what we do moving forward, but at the same time, I do think that we've been in some very challenging situations, whether that's because of injuries or how things aligned, all that kind of stuff. So now we have an opportunity to be in a really good situation in terms of learning from that and then moving forward.
You felt like these guys, have earned the right to be in the postseason. Are you comfortable that you're in the tournament NCAA at this time, or do you think there's work to do, or how do you?
Yeah, I can't really answer that. I would say this, that when you look at the landscape of college athletics is totally different. It completely changed, 100% changed. So if you look at historical numbers of teams that get in from conferences, that all has to go right out the window. It has to. And so now you're looking at, and I said this to our team, right now, I look at our improvement from last year to this year, and I can, and to give our kids the confidence to know that we are improving. Where last year, the Big Ten, in terms of number of teams in the conference, in the NCAA tournament, was 7, which was, I think, at least tied for the best ever in history, if I have that correct, right? Or at least it was right there. And last year, we were able to win only 5 games in that 18-game schedule, right? 4 of them with Mara, 1 without her. This year, the conference is deeper than it's ever been. And why do we say it's deeper than it's ever been? Well, we added 4 teams. 2 of them are among the first, they're both 1 seeds in the projected upcoming NCAA tournament. And all 4 teams are postseason teams. So you've added 4 really good teams to our already strong conference. And then the other teams in the conference have gotten better too. And so when you look at right now the depth of the Big Ten conference, you're looking at, I think it's 13 teams in the top 43 or so of the net. That's unbelievable. When you listen to and you read up on bracketologists, they're saying right now there's projected 13 teams that are NCAA tournament teams. Again, we can't control what everything else is at this point in time. Do I think our kids deserve a chance? I absolutely do. I do. This is unprecedented. This is the best, in my opinion. The Big Ten women's basketball is the deepest conference ever in the history of NCAA women's basketball. It's never been like this before. And so I think because our young ladies have competed and knocked off some decent teams, really good teams, and competed with the best teams, I think we have earned an opportunity. Now, would it help us to get to work and do some work in the Big Ten tournament? Absolutely, But regardless, what we look at now is this year, we are a better team because we've won more games in a better conference, and we've done it, unfortunately, without some of the kids that we would love to be able to be on the court playing with us. And so we know we're getting better. And we got to continue to take little steps forward. And those little things, whether that's, again, how we use a screen, how we guard a screen, those little things can help you continue moving forward. And that's really what we focus on.
What's Kennedy done to get some minutes in recent games?
Well, I think she's someone who is, I think, doing a little bit more in practice in terms of we call it not deferring, right? We need things to happen. I think she's done some of that. And I think it started, if I remember correctly, it started in the Maryland game at the end of the first half, and we were trying to save someone from a foul trouble scenario, and then it grew kind of into the Ohio State game. We need ball handlers and put her in that type of situation. And so it's continuing to grow, I think, in that way. And but I think she's someone who has to give us really positive minutes on both ends of the court. But you're asking a lot for someone who hasn't really been in opportunities to do that and then getting opportunities, and you can't miss on that screen now. You're guarding a shooter, you better not fight towards the ball. You better tag that kid coming off the screen, because all of a sudden everything seems amplified at that point in time, or whatever the little things are. And that's asking a lot out of anybody. But for someone who is now kind of thrown into that, she needs to help us in those situations, and I believe that she can.
Did you know that we were going to be 18-team league, or did that come out?
No, I did not know that.
So when that happened, did you think, great, or, oh?
Nobody asked me for my opinion.
I know.
Not one athletic director, or including ours, or our president, asked me what I thought of that decision.
It's a very good point, though.
Which is different.
You're not in a small pond.
We're not. We are in a very different setting than has ever happened before in college athletics. And so, therefore, personally, I hope, and I think the bracketologists have laid it out, and I hope the committee gets it too. It's an unprecedented time. And so when you compare what our resume is to other teams on the bubble, we're doing it in a conference that's the best and deepest of all time.
You've had success in conference and NCAA tournament. What have you found over the years as maybe the key to getting your team ready to have success at this time of year?
Well, I think it's interesting because you can do things a couple different ways. And what we've seen over the course of time is all of a sudden there are different players who step up in tournament time. We've seen that. And so we know that has to be, whether that's, it brought up Kennedy, whether that is some player that maybe hasn't done as much as in the last game they did, or whatever the case is, that you need different players to step up at this time of the year. That's really, really important, which means you need to have that energy and enthusiasm going into it. And I believe that our young ladies do. Then you really have to, I think, be as fundamental and disciplined as possible, but there are times that one of those players has to go make a play, right? You have to kind of trust yourself, that the spirit has to move you to go make a play, and you've got to go make it and make good things happen out of it. And so I think that's kind of the urgency, but the fun of this time of the season too.
When you were in the Summit League, was that almost every year a one-bid league? Like, did you have to win the conference? And how is that maybe different than what this week might be for you, or does it nothing change?
Well, I think it started that way, yes. And I think maybe the last 3 years we were a conference that got in more than one team. But still, there's a lot of pressure because you don't know, right? And there's pressure here because you don't know. But I don't think it changes anything. I think you're playing in an incredible environment in an area where people are buying up tickets. I think women's basketball overall is just growing and it's on the rise, and so I anticipate there to be some really good crowds and really good excitement and opportunities. And it starts, it's different because you say every game is the same and you approach it the same way, but you don't travel with your band and your cheer team at every trip, right? So now that's a little bit different. So I think there's a natural enthusiasm when you get into tournament time too.
That's what been frustrating for Mara, who's so competitive, to watch a team that really could use her. How have you had to in any way kind of keep her spirits up? Has she done that on her own? And was there ever really a point where, given the fact that she'd re-injured the same foot, that this year was going to be a possibility?
There's a lot of questions in that. Okay, so I'm going to try to answer those in order. I'd say, first of all, I think this has been incredibly, incredibly challenging. I think that everybody can understand and it can rationalize that it would be hard to have the same injury and to be out kind of back-to-back seasons with the same injury. But when you really put yourself into that situation, man, that is unbelievably challenging. And again, credit to her character and to her, I think, support system too. I think she has done just an amazing, amazing job of not making it about her, but of making it about her helping her team in any way that she can, which that's really hard to do. And I give her a lot of credit for doing that. Mara and I had a conversation last week, and it was kind of in between the two games. And we said this, I really believe that we did some things in practice. And maybe they don't always translate to the game immediately, but we did some things in practice this past week in terms of our attentiveness and urgency and leadership that we haven't done yet in the 2 years that we've been here. And so, our conversation on the sideline has been, we're going to be really good. We're going to get this figured out. We're going to turn the corner. We are getting better. This was a great day for us moving forward. And we said the same thing in our practice. We had a different travel schedule. We practiced at one of the local high schools before we played at Michigan State, and that was one of our best practices. And again, it doesn't always carry over into that game immediately, but there are little things that are happening. And so what Mara and I have talked about is the excitement moving forward of what that looks like and when that does start to relay into in-game situations. And then during the practices and during the games, and I think even before I got in the locker room, either at halftime or after the game, I think Mara was running the show, which is exactly what we need to have happen. So what we're watching right now is a lot of good things kind of starting to come together in a little different way. So while Mara's been a voice, she's now doing it in an even, I don't know if the word's stronger, but a stronger leadership position. So that's where Mara's at. In terms of, do we think that she'd be able to come back? I guess it's all a matter of how quickly and how successfully she healed and obviously not taking any chances with that. And so was it realistic? I think it was hopeful, but probably not something that we were banking on, if that's a safe way to say it.
Because you don't want to throw away your eligibility for
Right.
the games, right?
Well, and you certainly can't go through this again, or you never want to. And so you just can't risk any of those type of situations, right?
So she's not practicing?
She's not, right. Yeah, she's not practicing with us at this point in time. She's doing some more things a little more aggressively on her kind of outside of practice, but in practice, she can pass and communicate and do those kind of things. And pretty soon I'm just going to hand her the clipboard and tell her to go.
Taylor's on schedule?
Taylor's on schedule. Yep, she's doing great. And I think she's someone who is, I think looking at how she's growing from a leadership standpoint through all of this has been nothing short of really special. So I really, truly believe that Taylor's going to come back as a better version of Taylor Woodson than she was before she got injured. Awesome. Thank you.